Hi everyone, I'm Maggie Weldon from maggiescrochet.com, and in this video Christina is going to show you how to make this little bunny applique. This is one of 8 Easter patterns that we're doing, at least 8, and this was done with a sport weight cotton yarn. You could also do this in a heavier yarn, but we like the way it turned out like this. It all depends on what you want to use it for, and basically it's just a double crochet circle. And then you add the little nose and the little bit of embroidery here, and then the eyes, and then you make the ears separate and sew those on. So we'll go to close up now and show you how to make this. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out a lot. If you share, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, it really helps us out. So I want to thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great, happy Easter.
Hey everybody, it's Christina from maggiescrochet.com, and today I want to show you the pattern for the Easter Bunny Face Applique. This is pattern number FP217, and it makes this really cute little Easter bunny. This is a super easy pattern. Now, the only difference that you're going to see between the pattern and this today is this was made with a sport weight yarn. That's like a number 3 sport weight yarn and a size F crochet hook. Today, I'm going to be using the Elizabeth crochet thread, which we carry on maggiescrochet.com. This is a size 3 thread, but it's just a little bit smaller than a sport weight yarn. So I'm going to go down a hook size and use an E for my Elizabeth size 3 yarn. You can do it either with the sport weight or the Elizabeth, whichever look you prefer. Alright, I've also got my yarn needle handy and my little snippers, scissors, whichever you prefer. I've got white, I've got hot pink, I've got my light pink, so I think I'm ready to start. Let me just clear off my workspace. So we're going to start with the white. We're going to start with our cute little bunny face. Start with a slip knot on your hook. There we go. All right, so start by chaining 3. 1, come on, 2, 3. And then we're going to do 11 double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook, which is the first one after our slip knot. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry if it looks like this center chain that you're working out of, if it looks like it's too big. When we're done, we can tighten it. That's why the slip knot's so great. So leave it until you're done, and then when we're done we can tighten it up if we need to. My yarn's not staying put. Let's put this back over here. Now, how many have I done so far? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then our chain. So we need to, oh no, that's only 6. 7 including the chain, my bad. So we need to do 6 more. No, we need to do 5 more. Don't pay attention to me today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's 12, including our starting chain. So once you've got that, you're going to join your last double crochet to the top of that starting chain, which, let's see, that's going to be right here. And just do that with a little slip stitch. Okay? Now we're not going to turn, we're just going to work up and keep going in the same direction. So we'll chain 2, and do 2 double crochets in each double crochet around, so we end up with 24 total. I'm going to do one in that same stitch. Go ahead and work in both loops here. If you don't, your bunny will have a little circle in the middle of his face, which for certain things could be cute. But in this case, I don't think that's what we're looking for. It's always a good idea to try to pull out, you know, a good amount of yarn before you start. But there's always going to come a point when your yarn ball starts rolling around. So I like to keep, I have a little tub over here to the side that you can't see that I like to put my yarn in so it doesn't, you know, roll off the table, get under my feet. So we're getting there. Excuse me. Of course, as we're preparing for Easter, spring is coming, and oh my goodness, so is the pollen. So if I sneeze again, I'm really sorry, you guys. But it's okay, because you know what? I'm not allergic to bunnies. Alright, got 2 stitches left here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 20, 21, 22. I always like to count before I get to the last stitch. Not quite sure why, but I usually count the stitch before the last stitch. Doesn't really matter when you do it as long as you count. Alright, so there's 2 double crochets in each stitch around, and then we're going to again join at the top of our turning chain with a slip stitch. Okay, on to round 3, chain 2. Now we're going to do a double crochet in the same loop here where we joined. One double crochet in the next double crochet, and then we're going to keep alternating 2 and 1. So here I'm going to do 2 stitches in the same, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and the next one I'll just do 1. Then I'll do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then just 1. This is the last row of our bunny face, so this will get him up to full size. So when you're done with this round, you should have 36 double crochets. And it's, again, you're just alternating 2 double crochets, 1, 2, 1. almost there. And this will flatten out too once I put it down and I'm not working with it as much. If yours is buckling a little bit, don't worry too much about it. It will flatten out once you're done. So the last stitch, if I did this right, will be 1 double crochet. And yep, here's 2 in the penultimate stitch. And then here's my last one. Do 1 double crochet there. I'll join to the top of the turning chain. And then I'll cut this and weave it in. Go ahead and cut it, but I'm gonna wait, I'll weave it in a minute. I usually try to do all my weaving in at the same time. I gotta get new snippers. Alright, so there's our bunny face. We can lay this to the side for a minute, because what would a bunny be without ears? So I'm gonna take my light pink now. And we'll start, as always, with our slip stitch. Slip knot, sorry. Okay? Now we're starting at the top of the ear. I know you can't really see it yet, but what we're doing is starting at the top of the ear. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So the first one we made. And throughout this pattern, we're counting our turning chain as a double crochet, so we're counting that as 2 double crochets. Okay? Second row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Double crochet in the first double crochet. And then do another double crochet in the turning chain. So now, for the second row, counting our turning chain, we have 3 double crochets. Row 3, chain 2 and turn. And we're just going to keep this steady, so we're going to have 2 double crochets per, well, 3 double crochets including the turning chain. So there's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, counting the turning chains 3. So that was row 3. We're going to do that through row 7. So here's row 4. I think I dug a little too deep in that past one. Let's pull this back. Oh no, that was right. Sometimes going into the chain can look a little different, and that's why I'll show you in the next row. Sometimes a lot of people see I've got a stitch there I could work into, a stitch there, and then here's my turning chain. Now I've been skipping this first one and working here and here. You can work here and here, but you get a little bit of a lopsided effect. Working into, skipping one and then working into the turning chain at the end helps keep it a little more straight on the edges. Now we are going to go around this, so is it such a big deal for the ear? Maybe, maybe not, but it's a good technique to know. If you skip when you're counting the turning chain as a stitch, you can skip the first one and then work into the turning chain on the end. All right, so let's see, row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was row 5. So I'm going to do 2 more rows just like this. This should be row 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. So row 8, we will chain 2, turn, and then all we're doing here is a double crochet decrease. So it starts like a regular double crochet, but instead of pulling through the last 2 loops on my hook, I'm going to start the next one, and then I will pull through the last 3 loops all at once. All right. Then I'm going to snip, leaving a little bit of a tail, and finish off. Now I've got to make another one of these because what would a bunny be without 2 ears? I think I'm going to go and make the other one off camera, but I'm going to do what I was talking about where instead of working into the turning chain, I work into the previous double crochets, so you can see that kind of like off-centered bit I'm talking about. All right, so let me do that and I'll come back and show you the difference between those two. So I finished the inside of the other ear, and hopefully now you can see what I was talking about the stitches being off center. By the way, if this is just really confusing you, ignore me until I start crocheting again. But this is the one that I did on camera. You can see how the edges are pretty straight. I mean, about as straight as you can get when you're crocheting. This is the one I did off camera, and you can see it's a little more, goes back and forth, kind of weaves in and out. So this was working into the top of each stitch and not into the turning chain. I still have 3 across on each row, but as you can see, it kind of goes back and forth a little unevenly. Now we are going to edge these out, so you know, when we're done, we'll take another look at them, see if it really mattered which way we did it. If you're not edging something, then you're definitely going to want to do it this way, where you skip the first stitch and stitch into the chain. So like I said, if that really confuses you, this is the part where you want to start listening again. So I'm going to do the little white edges on my ears. I'm going to do the one, do the ear that I did on camera earlier. So let's see. Starting with the white and a slip knot on my hook. I'm going to join with a single crochet to the right side of the last row, the last stitch of row 8. Okay, so when we finished, we were like this. Now on this, our odd rows were the right side. So row 8 being an even row, this is the wrong side. So we're going to flip it over, and this is our right side. That's one reason I like to leave the tails on until after I'm done, because it helps me remember which side's the right side and the wrong side. So with a single crochet, we will join into the last stitch of row 8. So I've got 1 loop on my hook. I will pull 1 loop through, 2 loops on my hook, and then pull another loop through those 2, just like a single crochet. All right. Now the edging on this is very simple. We're just going to do single crochets all the way around as evenly as we can. So I'm going to try to go, and I'll tell you the easiest way to do this, and the way that it was done here in my demo. You see she's got 1 stitch running at the top, and she just went all the way around the edge stitches. So that's what I'm going to do for this. So here I've got my 3 stitches. I'm going to take this whole, go under that whole stitch there on the side and do a single crochet. Now tuck in my ends as I go. If I just crochet right around them, you'll never see them. So I'm going to aim for about, probably about 2 single crochets per double crochet. Adjust accordingly, you know, depending on the size of your stitches and how you feel it's going. But I think for me, that's going to be about right. So I'm going to continue doing just single crochets all the way around this ear. Don't need to worry about leaving any long ends when I'm done. So So do go ahead and finish off your ends once you reach all the way around. So I'll go ahead and finish going around this ear. I'll do the other ear as well. Then I'll come back again, I'll show you the difference between the two ears, and then we'll put on our little nose and our mouth and our little googly eyes. So here are our ears after they've both been edged. Now this one here, this is the one I did on camera where I kept the sides nice and straight. And this is the one I did off camera that was a little more wibbly wobbly. Now that I've edged them, well, I can still tell the difference. This one looks a little wibbly wobbly to me. This one is a little more straight. Still, they're pretty close, and for this project I would definitely do it this way. In general, again, it's going to depend on what you're working on and how precise it is. Alright, so there's our ears. I'm going to set them aside for just a second, and we're going to make our cute little bunny a nose. I'm using the hot pink for this. We'll start with, surprise, a slip knot. Now let's chain 2. 1 and 2. We're going to do 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. That's our first chain from our slip knot. So 1, 2, 3. Again, we can tighten this when we're done, so don't worry if the middle of your nose gets a little too big. Let's see, what's that? 4, 5, and 6. Okay, go ahead and tighten that up a little bit. There we go. And then just join with a slip stitch to the first crochet stitch there. The first single crochet stitch. That's it. That's your nose. I'm going to leave a pretty long end for this so we can sew it on. That should be plenty. And then just finish off, pull it through. Alright, so I think we've got all our bunny pieces now, so let's put our bunny together. Here's our face. No, it doesn't look like much, but yeah, it's getting there. All right, the first thing we want to do is take our hot pink yarn. We got to make him or her some whiskers. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces of yarn about 3 inches long. Let's see, that's probably, I'm going to say about that long. Doesn't have to be exact, but once you get one, use that to kind of measure the other ones so that they'll be the same length. 2, 3, and come on, 4 little bunny whiskers. Okay. Plop these right down in the middle of the face, right over that center, the center stitch we started with. Okay? Then we'll take our nose, and while we're sewing the nose on, we'll also be sewing the whiskers in place. So this is where you want to pick up your yarn needle. I find it easiest to fold my thread in half and then just kind of wiggle it into the eye of the needle. It might take you a couple tries. This is a fairly small yarn needle. All right, there we go. So now we're threaded. And I just want to sew my little nose on here while catching the whiskers in it as well. So I think we'll start going down. Let's see, right about there. You make sure you're on the right side of your face as well. All right, let's flip it over to the back. Now, how many stitches? Depends on how much tugging you think is going to happen on this nose. This one I can probably get by with relatively few stitches, but if you're making this for like some sort of child's toy, or you know, you're going to put on a little Easter Sunday dress or something, you probably are going to want to do a couple extra stitches here on this nose, and especially the whiskers. Make sure they get down good. Let's do one more on this side, make sure our whiskers are good and secure. Whoops. And then, let's see, you can always just give them a little. That should be good, I think. All right. Like I said, the more stress this is going to be under, the more you're going to want to sew this on. But I think for me, this is going to be just fine. Okay. This is our starter tail. So I'm just going to, for right now, I'm just going to pull that to the back and I'll weave it in a minute. Okay. So there's our little bunny nose. I think go this way. Now we need a little bunny mouth. So we can continue using this piece of thread, but we want to work the mouth in a double strand of thread. So I'm going to cut another length, probably about 8 inches or so. That looks good to me. And then thread this through. Yes, you are going to want to thread them through separately. Threading them through together would be a little bit of a nightmare. I think I can probably just tie a knot at the end of this one, and that should be fine. All right, so take a look at the picture you've got, or at my little bunny here, and that's the same little mouth I want to make. So let's see. Get your nose centered. To come up so you've got the line that comes down and then the little mouth. I'd come up from kind of underneath the nose for the line. And then I'm gonna say probably in between the second and third rows is probably about where you're gonna want to put the mouth. About there. How does that look to you? And then for the mouth, we're gonna go underneath this part. See how this one, you have the horizontal stripe and then the vertical one comes down over it. That's what we're doing here as well. It's kind of a sad looking bunny. I'm gonna take this out, try it again. And if it takes you multiple tries to make a happy bunny, hey, there's no problem in that. See, if I try to do these through both at the same time, it might work. Can I get it? Yeah, okay, there we go. Oh, no, see, I didn't get it. I messed up my yarn a little bit, so you really are better off just doing one strand and then try to get the other through. Because now that one that I messed up is going to be a little bit of a pain. So just get one through. Tweezers might also be very useful during this process, especially if you're having a hard time. There we go, there's one. And then I shimmy that down to the bottom of the eye while I'm trying to get the other one through. There we go. Alright, so now I'm rethreaded. Okay, so we need to make a happy bunny. Let's try going down a little further. Because I think the problem was that I tried to go straight across and that just didn't make a happy looking bunny. There, now he's got a little bit of a curve to his mouth, and we'll come up and go back up underneath our nose again. Guys, embroidery is not my strong suit. So that's going to be my happy little bunny face. All right. I'll finish this off. I'm just going to tie a quick little knot right now. I'll make a better one later and weave in my ends. All right. Bunny nose, bunny mouth. Now, when I did my ears, I cut one tail short and I specifically left this one long. I'm going to use this to sew both of the ears on. So let's see. Try to center our bunny. I'm going to tack him on about, I'm going to say about right there. I'm just going to use a whip stitch. Again, if you think that this is going to be pulled on a lot, if it's going to be around little kids who are going to want to gnaw on the ears or anything like that, you probably want to put a few extra stitches in here. One bunny ear. I'm going to put the second one right next to it. Only other thing I want to do is tack the ears together so they'll stand up straight. Yeah, if you want floppy bunny ears, then certainly leave it like that, but they will be, well, floppy. So I would definitely recommend, I'm just going to snip off my thread here and do a quick little stitch to keep my ears standing up straight together. Then I've just got to heat up my glue gun, put my little googly eyes on there. So do take note, again, this one was made with a number 3 sport weight yarn. And this is made with the size 3 Elizabeth crochet thread. I used a size E hook for this one. This one was made with an F hook. Of course, I crochet a little looser than a lot of people, so they ended up being about the same size. So I hope this pattern has been helpful to you. If you've got any questions, if I confused you about anything, please leave a comment below and I'll try to clear that up. But you can find this pattern, again, it's pattern FP217. You can find that on maggiescrochet.com along with either sport weight yarn or the Elizabeth thread, whichever version you decide to do. Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Draw up a loop, draw through 2, draw through 1. Yarn over, or if you accidentally drop it, those loops won't fall off your hook. So now I'm going to continue on, skip that one, pick up this one, skip,